everyone, welcome to Stand-Up Review. I am here with a brand new comedian. Do you want to introduce yourself to the sort of like stream and the endeavor that we're doing?
Hi, I'm Karan, Mehra. I started stand-up comedy just last year, so a little over a year old, based in New York, and trying to get better in ways that require not only going to open mics,
Yeah.
just so I can survive.
Sure, yeah, we were
So
just talking
I'm
about
learning.
the
Yeah.
toxicity of open mic. So, in stand-up analysis / stand-up review, we're about to watch his set, see what went well, what didn't went well, and maybe how we could make the better be better, and maybe the worst not be so bad. Any context you want to give to this show or this set before we dive right into it?
Yeah, this was last month, I guess this month, in London. I was just there for a couple of weeks and tried out a few open mics. This was one of them. The room size was about 20 people. And I had fun.
That's the most important part. Yeah, that's the part a lot of people forget. It's like, we should be having fun. Okay, let's dive right into it.
Keep that buzz going. Give it on, give it on, give it on, give it on, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Karan.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Dude, great.
Okay, so the intro moment is so important, and I always stress on it because most people don't think about it. They think the set starts when they start talking. It does not. So if you had to sort of grade or talk about your intro moment right there, any thoughts on your end before I dig into my thoughts about it?
No.
Okay, so especially in open mics, one of the only times the audience is fully activated is at the very end when like, oh, thank you, because like, thank God it's done. Or, hey, welcome this comedian, and you get a little bit of applause. That's the only time you have free momentum, and we can either take that momentum and run with it, or we can let it die. So unfortunately, when we walk on stage, we have all this business to do with the mic and all this. Least important thing. The most important thing is that audience connection. If I had to give the spirit avatar of this person that just walked in front of me, it'd be like being introduced to someone at a party like this. Like, oh hey, this is my friend William. Oh hey, one second. One second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hey guys, how we doing? It's
Right.
fine, but then partly like, what the hell was all that with the phone business? Like, watch as
Right.
we walk in. We only care about the mic, and we don't start talking until we've lost all the applause from the momentum. We literally we had a crest, and we instead of being like, oh, welcome, oh, thank you so much, thank you, let me get into it, and riding that wave, we let it die completely. So we're starting from the bare minimum, and so instead of having free energy, we're starting with no energy. So like, watch your entrance again with that. Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you. Let me reward you for applauding right now. Nope, I'm focused on the mic. Let me move this mic.
Dude, great set, Josh.
Literally, woo, dead. Hey, great
Yeah.
set. So instead of
I
starting
almost
energy up
thought-
here. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I almost thought that's desired. Let that die out, and then so this is good to know.
Intrinsically, from the beginning, there are two ways, and there are only two ways really that you can train the audience. The audience can be trained that this is about me talking, not about you laughing. And then they will politely listen. You won't get much applause. It'll feel like hell. Or you can train them, this is a dialogue and you have your input. Thank you for applauding. I'm rewarding you for doing the thing I want you to do so that you are more likely to do it. Oh, thank you. Yes. We could be fueling that and training them more instead of being like, no, the comedy will not commence until you shut the fuck up. And then we're training them to shut the fuck up, which is not what we want to train them to do. Okay. I sorry to go so heavy-handed on that, but it is very important, and it's literally it happens the moment before most people even think that their stand-up has started. You're about to do a bunch of really cool things, which I want to point out, but I do think you could even be better if we had that concept right from the beginning.
Dude, great set, Josh.
Okay, so I don't have the context, and I'm gonna guess it before you share it with me. So either that person's name wasn't Josh, or they did a terrible set, and you'd be like, great set, and everyone's like, ha, that was not a terrible set.
Yeah, the MC got the previous guy's name wrong and called him Josh by mistake earlier in the evening. His name was Ben.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I love that joke. I love starting the set with any sort of joke that resolves any residual tension in the room. Like if the AC is really loud, being like, at least we're cold. So the audience knows that you're a real person. This is real in the moment. This isn't us just basically doing a video performance in front of them. So I love using something that happened that night so they know they're like, oh, he's experiencing this moment with us. I love that move. And it's like if you did the set in Arizona doing something that's like Arizona based, or if you do it in New York doing something, I love that as a way to start the set. I think it really sets a good thing of like, I am not just a performer, I'm a person with you in this moment. So great, and it gets the laugh. Great. I also like that we have the smile, so like, hey, we're enjoying ourselves too, because we're that sort of like spiritual avatar of the room because we have the most power right now. So anytime a comic's is like, the audience is kind of like, but the comedian's like, and then the audience is like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah, we're playing, we're having fun. So I even love that small smile, absolutely love it. Because we could just as easily have been like, oh, thank you, Josh, and do a deadpan, which would still get the laugh, but the audience would have to do more work and sort of like fight against the emotion that we are sharing with it. So I love the teeny smirk.
Hi, I'm Karan. I'm visiting to.
One second. Let me just watch this again. So there is a moment where we get this big laugh, we get this personal moment, and then we sort of like burn a lot of the rapport we build by doing sort of like messing with the mic cord and sort of like waiting too long to feel very much like performative. Instead of be like, Josh, hey, I'm natural, and now I've just sort of naturally started talking. It really does feel like I am starting material now. And so that really separates you from being a real person in our eyes. So I think we could have had a smoother transition from that very cool in the moment joke to actual written material. Like, hey, that was a great set, Josh. Oh, hey, by the way, I can't make fun of your name. My name is, and then use that as a springboard to naturally get into my material. So you get a question?
Waiting for the laugh to die, and then what I'm also doing while I wait for the laugh to die.
Okay. So this is an analogy and I don't think I've ever done this on one of the reviews, so I'll keep this in the review. So my best, and I promise you that I'm going somewhere with this, but it's going to take a minute or two to get there. And I just say that to relieve the tension of like, this story's going long, because preemptively, I'm using my stand-up skills in this moment. My best friend used to take every girl he dated on the exact same date. Exact same date. They would get a pizza on one side of the Brooklyn Bridge, walk on the Brooklyn Bridge, watch the sunset, go to the other side, there'd be a bar, they'd get a drink. If it went really well, there's a karaoke after-hours spot. Some of those dates went well, yeah? You just have to take me at my word for it. Some of those dates did not go well. It's not because of those things, right? It's because of the interpersonal dynamic that they had, right? Those activities were an excuse to create that interpersonal dynamic. But imagine if right at the top of the date was like, hey, do you mind if I just get some like a hot dog at the deli across the way? He's like, no, we're getting pizza. That date would be ruined, yes?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent to us wanting to stay on our written material if the audience wants to play with something else. Our written material are the items on that date. But the true success is that interpersonal dynamic. It supersedes everything, especially our material. So we spend so much time on this material, it is important to have an excuse to talk about something to create that dynamic, but it is also the least important thing in the room. If you have a small crowd of like 6 people, a lot of the times it's better to get rid of the written material because it seems so forced and just actually talk to them and just try to generally weave our things out. That interpersonal dynamic is the most important thing. So yes, we're trying to say this material because it's gonna make us seem clever, but that cleverness is just to like seem cool in that interpersonal dynamic. So that is what's most important. So anytime we're futzing with the mic wire, I'd rather be like, hey guys, this mic wire is more tangled than fucking my date last night. Am I right? Like at least talk to it so that we're always having that connection, even if we have to do business. Sorry, is there a question brewing in your mind?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember whether I was the way that happened. Okay, there was a laugh. I took a couple of seconds to unentangle the mic. And then I went to the written material. I totally get your point about, oh, this is now, I'm announcing I'm going into performance mode. That's a great point. I can't remember now whether I did that because I had a couple of seconds knowing like that the laughter is going to die out, or I did that anyway while the laughter was dying out. So part of it was also like the timing of it, because I didn't want to start talking while they were still laughing.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing. Like when you gave the example, you're like, maybe the way you showed me the example is like, oh, even while it's dying out, you like keep chatting with them in that casual way.
So in this moment right now, I wasn't saying anything as I did, but I had a nonverbal connection with you, right? So I could be like, joke, like, yeah. And now I keep
Right.
talking. So I'm not walking over your laugh, but there's still an active, silent connection between it. So I'm not saying, oh, haha, you guys laugh for a second. I'm going to check out.
Right.
Okay, now next input joke. It's more
Right.
like, hey guys, this is really funny, right? Oh, yeah, you like that. You like that too. Okay. I got another one for you. Okay, next one. So we have to keep
Right.
that connection going even through the parts where it's a dialogue. It is a dialogue. It's the equivalent if I'm talking to you and it's not a dialogue even anymore. Even if you're talking to me while I space out, you're like, oh shit, I feel weird. He's not. So it's a dialogue. When they're laughing, that's them talking in the dialogue. You still have to be listening to them. All stand-up, this is how all stand-up should feel. Comedian says some bullshit. I check in with audience reaction to the introduction of some bullshit. I respond to their reaction with my response. I listen to their response to my response. I tie a bow around it. I introduce new bullshit. That is what everything feels like. Hey guys, you ever owned a car? This guy hasn't. Oh, you silent over there. You guys have it. Okay, like, I have a car. Here's my joke about a car. Ha 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 ha. Oh yeah, other people have owned a Prius. Okay, I get it. Well, that's the end of car thing. Next thing, like that's the back and forth of the dialogue of stand-up intrinsically. That make sense?
And that's fine. Or do you want to even keep it? You don't want the bow between the car and the, I don't know, high school bit. Like, do you even want that to flow smoothly? Like, if your next bit is about high school.
So, when I say flow smoothly, it doesn't have to flow smoothly logically. It doesn't have to be like cars. Sometimes cars are owned by kids, talking about kids. Kids go, all the time in conversations, we go, the other day I bought a banana. You guys ever had a banana? Yes, it's a sudden shift in the conversation, but it's still natural. It's still flowing with the way I am a person the whole time. And hey, I'm excited to talk about this thing. It's not like, banana, you know what I'm saying? It's more the emotional flowing than it is the logical flow of the ideas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't asking about the logical flow. I was asking more about the body language and, like, in this example, if this had to go into the next bit,
Yeah, so when I say tie a bow, it never wants to be like, tie a bow now, end of thing.
Right.
Tie a bow, like, okay, any residual tension, I'm relieving any residual tension. I'm making sure that we're all good about the concept of cars before I move on to the next thing.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Great. Okay. We are 15 seconds in. It's only going to take us 8. No. The beginning is very important, and I'm trying to like onboard you to like all these big lessons at once. So like, we'll be able to flow faster. One second. Okay, let's get the second joke. Okay.
Dude, great set, Josh.
Great. I like the look up and the smile. I like the kind of look. This is where we kind of disconnect. This long moment right here. This is the moment I feel like you sort of disconnected the load material.
We're back in it now. New York City. So
the audience woos, and it's the initial stage. Just some like, oh yeah, New York City, woo, you been? We had an opportunity to really reward them for their side of the dialogue right there. But we're sort of on the train tracks with like, no, I want to get my joke out. I would like to get my joke out. If we reward them for making noise, they want to make more noise, which is laughter. So especially up top, if they woo or celebrate something, if we have the improv chops, that's the moment to be like, woo for New York. Normally people are like, let me get the fuck out. That's why I'm in London. And then we can go back to our material. I've like really, once again, we could prove that we're a real person in the moment with them. So there's a thing in stand-up. You can write applause breaks. You can write clever stuff that will get applause breaks. But the biggest laughs of the night will be real in the moments with the audience when you're really playing with them. And so we want that. We want the applause breaks. We want the clever writing. But what will make a set feel funnier is really playing with the audience.
Yeah, I'm from the U.S. Was it Adam? What a funny name, man.
I like that. I like that playing with the audience.
Kyle, thank you so much for having me.
What I don't like is like we're like, Adam? Was it Adam? What a funny name. No, but we sort of like, okay, fuck that bullshit I just said. We're sort of like negating our own joke with the transition afterwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was just a quick comment to make there because he had said something about finding other names funny or something like that. So that was just like a throwaway.
I love the impulse to do that. I love that move. I just don't like the sort of like subconsciously like shitting on it right after the fact. By going like, Adam, what a weird name. No, but here's the side. Like, no, what I just said was unimportant. Now let me say other things. We're sort of like attacking the idea of the own joke that we just made by saying like, watch.
I'm from the US. Was it Adam? What a funny name, man. No, but Kyle, thank you so much.
Yeah, the no, but is basically saying like what I said was unimportant. You're sort of like subconsciously shitting on the thing. It was a great move, and we're just trying like that was a bad move. But like, why would you communicate that to us? We could just go into this next thing without the no but.
Got it.
Yeah.
For having me here, but I will have to cut my set short. I have a passenger waiting in my Uber.
Yeah, so we make the punchline and then we look down and stuff. I have a passenger waiting in my Uber. Haha. Oh wait, it's you, sir. Oh, how did you escape? We could have made a further connection with the audience with that moment instead of just like sort of like because ideally we get a laugh and then we reignite it right when it's coming down and then we get multiple payoffs from one punchline instead of haha laugh, wait for next thing. You get what I'm saying? Because I think you could come up with some clever things to be like, oh, my Uber's waiting outside. He's never getting there. Like, you almost say anything and reignite that laugh with secondary, tertiary jokes once we wait for the first applause break to start to crest down. Does that make sense? Your thoughts on that concept? And once again, don't feel like this is dictate from the comedy god. If you have questions or like, oh, I have a counter hypothesis. Happy a lot of things I've learned I've just stolen from other people, so always happy to be challenged as long as we have like a logical construction of why we think of the counterexample.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just taking notes while you're saying that, which is why I'm like not as vocal doing that. But yeah, it's all making sense.
I'm just checking in and make sure no residual tension exists in the room.
Yeah.
Free laugh because you want to express to me that everything's okay right now. Ooh, hey,
Right.
you know some things. Yeah. But look, all the things that I said about those minor optimizations we can make, we've still done some clever moves. We're referencing people in the room. There's residual giggling, and we're in a great place with this audience already. So yeah, it's art. We can always do a better job. No, I do a lot of these reviews, and I point out a lot of these moments, and comedians like, I feel shitty about my set. No comedian will hit all of these optimizations, but I do want to flag where they were so we can start hitting more of them more consistently. Yeah?
And please do even more, because I've never done improv. I've never taken an acting class. So like all of this is like first time I'm even getting knowledge like this. So I love this.
Sure, you're great.
No, but just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I drive Ubers, right? So it must be the other thing that Indians do. What is that?
I love this joke because intrinsically we're playing with the audience and everyone is the star of their own movie. And unfortunately, stand-up attracts narcissists who think like, I am so special, I deserve just to say what I feel and have people applaud me. But everyone else in the room, their movie is, I'm seeing a comedy show right now. So the more you can make them the star, the more they'll like, I'm enjoying myself, it'll make you the star. So I love this idea about like, it's the other thing Indians do. What is that, sir? Like you could even signal people out. I'm not gonna make you do that. There's an intrinsic cheat code with crowd work. Intrinsically, anytime we say like, oh, what do you think? There's a tension of like, ooh, what's the audience gonna do? Is this gonna resolve? A lot of times just by being like, I'm not gonna make you do that. Or like, oh, it's okay. Just by resolving it like that, you'll get a free laugh. Because that's the tension we're resolving. The idea that the audience was gonna talk and maybe throw some off. I love this idea of like, the other thing Indian people do. Oh, we know it? You're smiling. Do you wanna share? No, you don't? Okay, oh, you were giggling at me playing with him. What if I point at you? We could really have fun with the audience in this moment. As we're about to pay it off in a big way, so it might be gilding the lily too much, and I do love what we're about to do, but it is an opportunity.
Medicine.
Sorry?
Yeah, so once again, the audience is with us enough that they're willing to, they feel comfortable enough to like shout out. Audience is in a great place. So I love that they are freely giving stuff. So
Medicine.
What's that?
Medicine.
Medicine. Oh, no, medicine. No. I don't like people that much.
yeah, I love it. I don't like people that much. Is it the most clever thing? No, but it resolves the tension so it gets the laugh. And if you do this a lot and you get the same responses, you can start building your arsenal of clever responses. So you'll seem like, oh my God, he just came up with that. And it's like, no, I came up with that 5 weeks ago when I did this bit. But you can have a
this also actually came up with that. I couldn't come up with anything clever.
Yeah, but because the tension is resolved, because you're saying it's okay that you spoke out, I'm validating your speak out and I'm making it okay, we get the laugh because the tension is resolved. So that's why there's a laugh there, even though the words themselves aren't the most clever, doesn't matter. tension resolved, room is okay, laugh achieved. Yeah? And that's why I frame it the way I do and why I made you go through the whole workshop before we watched the thing.
Tech support then.
I'm sorry?
Tech support.
Tech support. Why is it? Have you spoken to Robert Smith?
Love it.
Who has asked you to turn off and on your computer again? No, but you're.
Love that. I love that. And we get a big laugh. And it's because we're a lot of times comedians will open up like, "Hey, how do you feel about cars?" And the audience would be like, "Boy," and you'd be like, "Oh, here's our," and they'll sort of like steamroll over the audience's response. But we want it to feel like a dialogue. So you're saying like, what you said is valid. I'm letting it affect me, and now I'm responding to it. So they feel open to laugh because they know you're not going to shut them down. They know they have agency in this conversation to make noise, whether it be words or laughter.
Close, you're close. I'm a software engineer. Yeah, it's required by our constitution. But
Okay,
that's not.
so I want to talk about this. One of the reasons why I think that joke doesn't land as hard as as the rest of the things is required by our Constitution. My audience brain doesn't fully understand that joke, and since I have a question in my mind, that's a tension that's not resolved. I don't have a full laugh, so it's required by our Constitution. I don't really know what your angle is by like the U.S. Constitution, that Constitution, by our Constitution, us. Who is the R? What's the Constitution? Is it the government Constitution? Is it your? There's too many potential questions, so I don't feel like fully resolved to laugh, which is why I think that payoff doesn't get a fulfilling laugh.
I see. Interestingly, this one is done better in the US because I felt like I'd set up enough context about me being an Indian and a software engineer. So when I say our constitution, I mean the Indian constitution. And just because
gotcha.
there's so many like software engineers around that it's almost as if it's by law.
Sure.
But yeah, I tried this joke like 3 or 4 times in the UK and it didn't do as well either of those times, but it lands well in New York. So I don't know why that is.
Could be a cultural, like maybe like I'm dumb American. Does the UK do they have a constitution? Or I feel like constitutions are usually meant to extricate other countries from Britain. So I don't know enough to know. Also, I think
that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I don't know what their government law written things are, but that could be they might not be primed to be like, oh, constitutions. Oh yeah, constitutions exist. And meanwhile, they're like this when you're expecting the payoff to the joke. They're in their mind like on a constitution sort of like rabbit hole. Could be what is happening.
Not also the only thing that brown people do, right? So since I'm visiting London, I wanted to fit in with my brown brothers, and so I bought a bomb. Tracker.
I like that idea. So I bought a bomb and then lit the tent. Obviously, if we had a little bit like of a more like, hey, I'm definitely joking, because like a bomb is a big dangerous concept. So like as long as they know, because some audience might be like, what do you mean bomb? There might be something, but I love that we're like, tracker. It's a tracker. It's all okay. I make sure I'm resolving any residual tension from the idea of bringing the concept of bomb in. But I love this idea of the tracker, and I'm gonna talk about it in a second too. Oh, tuck, 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 tuck. Oh, I guess we need tech support for this bell. Okay, hey, sir. Oh, easy to do in the comfort of our homes after the fact. But now in your back pocket, if our props ever do that again.
This is a bomb tracker. Every time a joke doesn't land, this will go off. So what's your name? Mark. Mark, could you hold on to this, please? You can be the bomb detonator for tonight.
So I like that. I love the idea of having some sort of safety valve. A lot of comedians have like that. This is my punchline stick. Every time I grab it, it's a punchline. Or like, I was working with a comedian who we called him the groan comic. He's like, if you don't like my jokes, just like groan. I don't any sort of reaction. I love having a built-in safety net about like if jokes work, we don't need the safety net. If it doesn't work, then we have this fun game that we can play regardless. I think we can play even more with the moment of giving him this bomb tracker. Like, oh, have you tracked bombs before? Have you? You look like you've heard a lot of bad jokes or made them. Oh, hey, we could make more with that. There's this thing in comedy where comedians are like, have you guys ever heard about cars? I bought a car the other day. The car I bought was a Prius. Here's a joke about Prius. But each one of those sentences is enough of a weird thing to play with. So right now we're trying to get this idea of bomb tracker, give it to you, blah, 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 set it up. Now I'll make the jokes. But even the idea of giving someone a bomb tracker is a funny thing. About like, I'm going to give you this. You don't have any other bomb trackers. Or you could whistle if you want. Can you whistle? You could hum. How do you normally track bombs? Okay, but here's how we're tracking it tonight. We can play with that idea instead of thinking that the comedy is always at some further moment. Does that make sense?
Yes. And yeah, this was purely a coping mechanism because my last 2-3 months has just been so open mic heavy, and it's just been completely deflating. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I know I need to keep doing this, but I need to be able to have some fun and just. So this came purely out of that.
Yeah, anything you need to survive open mics, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very clever, clever move. Open mics are brutal.
Yeah.
So I was born in India, a land where the people are non-violent, but the Vindaloo isn't.
This might pay off better if I'm in India, a country where the people aren't violent, but the Vindaloo is. Because the Vindaloo isn't.
Yeah.
We just say that the Vindaloo isn't
do
non-violent, so we have to do like a double
yeah.
twist on the punchline moment. Great joke, but I think that'll help streamline
Yeah.
it more with the
Yeah,
But-
I thought of that myself even after the joke. Yeah.
Great, love it. But I love the joke.
My name.
And we can even do a like, oh, some of you have had some before. Oh, no, they're probably in the bathroom. Like, there's even follow-up
Right.
jokes we can do. Once again, a lot of times, there's another thing where comedians build this amazing concept, and it's like we're digging into a gold mine. They get the first piece of gold, and then like, okay, screw this, I'm going to build another gold mine. No, we did all that work. Let's grab some more gold.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is anytime I'm done with a joke or like I have a joke, always think about how to make that more live and interactive in the room, even after I'm done with my rehearsed punchline.
And like skipping stones, you can usually have multiple payoffs about like, oh, but the Vindaloo is, ha 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 ha. Oh, you guys have had it before? Oh, no, you'd be in the bathroom. Huh? Sir, in the bathroom. Do you agree? Oh, like there's all these because we've already taught the audience the world we're in, so now we can just pay off instead of having to build a whole new beginning of a world to then pay off again. We can use the first payoff as the setup to the second payoff, and then our comedy becomes a lot more efficient, where we can hit that joke every 6-second sort of benchmark that a lot of comedy clubs like to report as like your laughs per minute. It's hard to do that if you're fully setting up each individual joke. You have to ping pong some. Just as a thought.
Yeah, nice.
Name Karan, spelled Karan. It's a name I did not appreciate as much until I left India. Unlike my buddy, Venkateshwara Balasubramaniam Krishnan Shankaranarayan Satyamurthy.
So one of the reasons I think this joke doesn't land, I think this joke is very clever, but I don't think it's getting the laughs that it should, is because like even our expression at the end of it is like this. Like we don't even have like I just did something funny. I'm the emotional avatar, match my energy. So the energy that the audience is matching is this. I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know how you feel about it. Also, I think we can really sort of highlight more how long it is. Like really long name, really long name, really long name. This long is really, but basically like how I'm saying it is sort of hinting at how long the name is instead of like I am just sort of blandly saying the name until I am done with saying the name. Does that make sense?
Yes. The blandly saying the name was actually an attempt at saying it in a way where they don't know it stops and then it just keeps going.
So that is I will buy the logical argument about like there is some benefit of saying it bland. I don't know when it's fully ending. That is a fun game, but you could build that tension more if I'm like, here's the name of blah, and you think this is the ending, and now I'm building it further, and now it's still even going. There's more tensions I can grow by playing it with it like that than by it. But to be fair, where fair is fair, there is a point of like the longer I say it and it is bland, but I think it even has to be longer if we're going to do the bland version of it. So it's like I'm saying this name and I keep saying the name and now it is so long it's getting ridiculously long and now you're really wondering how long this name is and it's still going and maybe even I take a big breath because it's all like let me finish the end of the name and now it is and now it is in here.
Got it.
Like I almost this is a matter of taste and it is an art, so 100% different taste. I will concede that. But I do think we might get more juice out of the squeeze if we play with the idea of like, blah, 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 no, there's more of it, no, there's more of it, and there's even more of it, and okay, now it's done.
Got it.
Whew. The journey of that name was longer than my journey from India, and then we could even do follow-up with the emotional journey and like playing with the additional jokes after the fact. But I love, once again, all that said, the joke works as is. These are just optimizations on top. Still love that joke. And I think most importantly, how we landed that joke is what caused the room not to laugh as big. Even with the deadpan delivery, I think would have gotten a bigger laugh if we were like, I just did a clever, right? Ahaha, now laugh with me at my clever that I just did. So, sort of
I see.
It's like, dude.
Yeah, see, they laugh more when you release like, dude, I'm in a smiley mood now. That's when that air starts to get let out of the tension in the room because they know it's okay to laugh because you're signaling that it's okay, that we're all okay right now.
You're not gonna make it in this country, man. He's like, no, man, America is the land of opportunity. I was like, no, listen. You legally won't make it into the country. Your name doesn't fit on your passport.
Oh, I'd love to be. So that's a fun concept, but we're sort of telling, not showing. We could even like physically be like blah 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 blah. I need another pay. And then we really play with the idea of showing the audience exactly how long that is on. Is this a fucking scroll passport? What is this thing to fit this whole? You could really play with that idea and show it to us instead of when we tell, not show. You're making me turn concepts into pictures in my head, which is putting more work on the audience. We want to do the heavy lifting as a professional, so that dumb lizard brain laugh now. Oh ha 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 ha. Sort of concept. Because the human memory, the working memory, can only keep 7 things on the top end, and usually some dumb-dumbs, it's only 4. So we don't want to tax how many objects we're forcing them to keep in their head. We want just like, here's one idea, and here's the payoff. Great. Third thing in your head is laugh, and that's all I need you to think of.
But it turns out that even a 5-letter name, too hard for Americans. And then they wonder why it's always an Indian kid that wins the spelling bee.
Love that joke. This might not be an optimization. This might take us off the tight logical string that we're doing. Love the joke as is, but there might be like even 5 letters is too much, and you could give more difficult 5-letter names. You could give more examples of that. And you can really pay it off. Like, not just my name. This name's hard. Xerxes? Anyone? Xerxes? You have a good one? Like, whatever you want as those names. But it might take us too much off of a tangent. I do like the logical line that we have of, like, 5-letter names, Indian spelling bee. So I might have just gilded the lily. But it's an opportunity if potentially we do the set a different way and we need to take that road instead of this one if we don't talk about spelling bees after.
Yeah, to your point, like if someone in the room is named Steve or something, I could be like, can you imagine if your name is Steve and you go to India and no one can pronounce it? Like, flip it back to that.
Steva, Steve. Yeah, you could have fun with mispronouncing easy 5-letter name. That could be real fun.
Yeah.
In just my second week in the country, I had an appointment with the college admissions officer. Dude, and they didn't let me in. Because they were not expecting a brown guy called Karan. They were expecting an angry, middle-aged white woman.
Oh, I think we might have paid off an angry, middle-aged white woman named Karan, and then really pay off the idea that you're playing off the payoff of. I think.
I see.
But
I was trying to not be that like obvious about it. I was like, they'll get it, but you think it's better to say it?
So there's this. So this is also a matter of taste, but I'll say this: in a room like this, you can probably be a little coy. When the rooms get bigger and the audience gets drunker and there's more pockets where they can have side conversations, it doesn't pay to be coy because you only have like 85% of their attention. So some people are missing things. So it's better to just be like, and for the dum-dums that weren't fully listening, here it is blatantly. And then the people that already get it get to be like, oh, they get a second tension resolved of like, oh, I was correct. So they get 2 tensions resolved. And the people that weren't following you get the first tension resolved of what, oh, there was a joke. So I would say in small rooms like this, yeah, you can be coy. But anytime you get above like 12, 14 above that people, then pockets start to form and people will be zoning out, talking to each other, getting drinks, etc. And you need to be a little bit more just like blatant.
That's great. That's a great utility because lots of times in some of my stuff, I'm like, should I say it? Should I not say it? Should I say it? Should I not say it? And I've tried different versions of this joke where I said like, okay, angry middle-aged white woman who would have called for the manager, and like that kind of dilutes it. Like the people who've already got it have already got it, and so, but like this is a nice tool. Say it and then also call out, make a joke about actually saying it.
And there is one, I think, minor optimization we might need to do. It's like you said, I'm at the college admissions office and they won't let me in. Linguistically, my audience brain doesn't know whether you mean in, like accepted into the college or into the building. You mean into the building, so I think they wouldn't even let me into the building because they weren't expecting me. I think we just might need that to the building for bigger audiences, just to really settle it. I'm not talking about being accepted into the college. I'm talking about being in, like, physically in the build. So, like, because our wording is a little loose as to which way it could go. And some people will tilt the other way, just like if you get a bell curve of people. But once again, it's fine. And for people that are paying attention, once again, the joke is a great joke. Love it.
But even people who know me still call me Karan. Karan.
Oh, you could also have a fun bit about, like, sir, can you pronounce my name? You heard it up top. What's my name? What's my name? No! And, like, really show us that people are like, oh, I just told you. And we're like, this is how hard it is. Like, you could really show us that. And I bet you some people will fuck it up.
I think most, yeah.
Yeah. But I also love this bit we're about to do as well. We can do this after we're playing with the audience.
But then just the other day, I run into my friend, Venkateshwara Bala Subramaniam Krishnan Shankara Narayan Satyamurthy. And he tells me, nobody mispronounces his name anymore.
Love that joke. Love it.
I was like, dude, how did you teach them that? He's like, I changed it to John.
Great joke. No, the only thing I'll say, like, look at our face right now. We want the audience to have fun. Look at our face right now. Does that say, hey, this is a fun-loving, laugh it up guy that we're with right now? You know what I'm saying?
How do I go from being in the moment where I'm confused about how he got the name right, and I received the news that he changed it to John, to now a fun...
Okay. So the conceit of stand-up, a lot of people like to do act-outs. The problem is anytime we do an act-out, intrinsically we're putting a fourth wall between us and the audience. And the conceit of stand-up is I'm a real person in this room with you right now. We should always tilt to that way. So we can do like can you guys believe that? Like, I'm exacerbated, but like, yeah, there's a wink and twinkle in my eye as I do this exasperation because I am me in this moment, pretending to be me in that other moment. I'm not being transported doing a play and then being transported back. It's a difference between me talking to you now and then suddenly showing you a video of me talking to my friends versus like the other day I was talking to my friends and I was like, oh, French, can you believe that my friends were doing this to me? I'm in this moment, indicating that moment instead of breaking away from this moment to stage put on the other moment and then teleport back to this moment. It's more important that I stay in this moment with you, that audience connection, 100%.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I know that gets a little metaphysical, so I'd have to give more like concrete examples, or like if I was on a stage, I could probably show like, okay, so it's like, so I asked my friend, and my friend was like, they all learned my name. Oh, even checking with the audience, like, can you believe that? I was like, how did you teach them that? He's like, oh, I changed it to John. Can you believe that guy? Oh, can you believe it? I'm checking in with the audience in that moment and being like, here's how I feel about that. Do you feel the same? Yeah, let's feel it. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So then it's about, I'm indicating those other moments, but I'm making sure I keep this, like, are you with me on this journey? We're one entity as we react to, our friend in this moment instead of me and then in a stage play. Does that make sense? Did that help in this like show?
Yes, thanks.
So another thing, there's a thing like you can activate applause breaks. That's a pretty full applause break. Was actually for most open mics. That's a that's better than you get at most any open mics because this audience is actually kind of wholesome. But we sort of do it by doing minor nods, but we could fully permiss the audience to be like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that applause break, and it'll open the floodgates a little bit. We want to train them, reward them anytime they do the big thing we want them to do. A lot of comedians will straight up go like, thank you. Doesn't have to be that big. Like, oh, I'm glad you like that joke. Anything to reward that applause break. It's a pretty good applause break despite that.
I was like, dude, how did you teach them that?
Yeah, you notice how when we have this stress when we're acting out this moment, how did you teach the applause and the laughter dies in that moment? Because the audience is like, oh shit, he's transported to play. Let me be polite playgoer. Instead of like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, how? Instead of fueling that applause and building up into a fervor and then really getting that in the moment, we sort of like, watch how the noise dies down when we act out the angst of how did you get that?
Venkateshwara Bala Subramaniam Krishnan Shankara Narayan Satyamurthy. And he tells me, nobody mispronounces his name anymore. I was like, dude, how did you teach them that?
See, I mean, sort of is also the timing of the waiting. But we could have easily been like, no one mispronounces his name anymore. Yeah. Can you believe that? How did you teach them? Oh, I changed my name to Bob. and then it's laugh, 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 twist, and the laugh will sort of like be rocket fueled up instead of us like starting from the ground each time. Some of that, most of that was timing, but I still think we could have been building that applause in the in-between moments instead of starting from the ground momentum each time. But I will rescind the full, the emotion being the thing that stifled the applause on the second playback.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He's like, I changed it to John.
Yeah, so we're sort of neutral in these moments. We're disconnected from the audience instead of being like, thank you for that applause, thank you. Oh, you really like that. Oh, is your name John? Whatever, et cetera. Playing with them and then causing it to keep bouncing up when we get the big response that we want. Yeah, see, there's still residual laughing, but we're sort of training them and like, okay, get ready for the next joke, so please calm down, everyone, instead of being like, no, yeah, let's still play with this moment that you guys want to play with. It's the equivalent of the date being like, hey, I want to get the hot dog. You're like, no, we're getting the pizza. No, and she's like, oh, okay, I'll get the pizza, but like, if she would have much more fun if we just went to the hot dog with her for a second, and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, and this one, it was the gag. That's why it was even more prolonged.
So I'm gonna talk about this gag, and we'll see in a moment. I think it's too fully dealt with the acting, because right now you're about to get another applause break, but they're giving an applause break because they think like, oh, he's fucking up. Let's please lift his spirits, which I think is taking it too far with the gag.
Okay.
I can't remember things because of my condition. I was recently diagnosed with late stage 30s.
So the reason I think that's like a ha joke is because intrinsically we're like, I just lied to you. We just know that I lied to you. I'm not being real in this moment. Versus hey guys, I'm about to do something. Oh, I can't remember things anymore because I've been diagnosed with late stage 30s. Like then they know that, okay, he's acting to forget, but he's okay in this moment. So there's not this like weird, because right now my audience brain is like, okay, is he lying to me now? Am I about to get fooled again? How? Because we are the only source of information for the audience. So anytime we're like, blah, 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 psych! The audience is like, well, why should I believe the next thing you said? Because you just lied to me. So if we're actively lying, we sort of need like either to use it very sparingly and at a very... I don't hate this joke, and I don't hate the way I don't even hate committing to the acting, but I think we went too far in this iteration to literally get the pity applause break. Because once we activated that from the audience, then it feels like we're kind of shanking them to be like, no, psych, lie. So we either have to pull the trigger earlier or have a wink and a smile that like, hey, I'm doing something. So like, I'm okay, I'm gonna be okay, but I'm gonna seem like I'm not okay for like 2 seconds. And that's why, once again, I'm happy to take other logical attacks to that, but that's how I'm attacking it, with the tensions that I'm thinking are happening and the tensions that might be lingering versus resolving at the end of that joke, which is why I'm diagnosing we might have more resolved tension at the end, thus we might have gotten a more fulfilled laugh if we did it.
I see.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just think
I'm the Lord of comedy. Everything I says is verbatim and true. No question.
I can't remember things because of my condition. I was recently diagnosed with...
Yeah, they even wanted to laugh at just at condition. You could have played with that more like, oh, you also have this condition. None of us know what it's called, right? Because we forget things. And then gone. Like we're too focused on this punchline that we're letting other potential punchlines or like opportunities for jokes die on the vine.
Late stage 30s. But my friends' anniversaries, for example, can't remember them. So I store them in my calendar. Set the date, set it to repeat every year, and by default, it repeats forever. But there's also this fun other option where you can set it to...
So you notice how long the setup to this joke is? We've already passed a million ideas we could have joked with, and we'll see the payoff, but it's too many we can make each one of these. So I have a calendar. Another thing, only late 30s. Does the Gen Zs know what a calendar is? Or you guys, there's all these concepts are fun ideas in themselves that could just as easily be the thing we play with. Instead, we're so focused on this thing that we're making the audience run 2 miles to get the ice cream instead of it just driving the truck right to them and slowly guiding them. So you had like a potential thing?
Yeah, with this bit, I really like the bit. I like the concept of the bit, but my constant struggle with this has been if I try and keep the up top premise as short as possible, then I have to just do that where I just give them just the necessary information, but then it becomes dry for like 30 seconds. Or then I keep adding jokes and it just keeps getting longer. And at that point, then like it becomes like a 2.5 minute bit. It's already like close to 2.
It's like your full set, and you're like, I don't even like the joke
Yeah.
that much. Okay, let's pay it off. Let's pay it off full. Let's see what the full joke
Repeat
is.
a specific number of times. And I'm like, calendar, are you asking me to take a bet? On how long Sam and Jenny's marriage will last? And so I did. 3 years after that, unfortunately, they broke up. And I fucking called it.
You could also play with the audience about like, you have anything that I should remember? Your birthday? I'll put it in for 5 times. Don't eat that pork 5 years from now. Oh, you guys are married? You guys look pretty happy. 10. I'll give you 10. Like, we can make this a playing with the audience bit as well after. But I actually think this joke probably has enough payoff that maybe it's worth the fat in the fat in the beginning versus the multiple payoffs at the end. It could be worth it as is. I could buy that.
Yeah. But is it fat? Because I don't want it to be fat. I just like literally like me just trying to give you just as much information as needed.
Yeah, I understand that like the things we need to know is like, I have a calendar, it can go on forever. Like, I have a calendar, they can go on forever, or you can put in whatever number you want. And that's a bet. Like technically, you only need that, which is like 3 seconds, 5 seconds of explanation.
I guess something more specific to be like what I'm putting in there so that the jokes, like let's like friends' anniversaries. So, you're saying you could just take out the entire, like, it's because I don't remember.
All you really need is like, hey guys, I set reminders in my calendar, and you can either let them go on every year, or you can or you can say like 8 times. And so I'm putting in friends' anniversaries. Do I think they're gonna last forever, or am I gonna make a bet? The casino's open, hey baby. It might have been, honestly, I don't know if I'm optimizing it all. Here, let's see how long this is. That's the audio to last.
So I store them in my calendar.
Oh, okay. I might be optimizing. You might just be able to get it out. I think it's maybe just like the cadence that we're going. We might be able to like crank up the tempo that we're saying things. It's like what? This right now it takes like 30 seconds. So watch. Okay,
I can't remember things because of my condition. I was recently diagnosed with late-stage colitis. But my friends' anniversaries, for example, can't remember them. So I store them in my calendar. Set the date, set it to repeat every year, and by default, it repeats forever. But there's also this fun other option where you can set it to repeat a specific number of times. And I'm like, calendar, are you asking me to take a bet?
Okay, so it's like a full-on. It's like 20 seconds. I think we might be able to do one joke payoff in the middle, and this is a matter of taste. But if it were
Friends'
me,
anniversaries, for example, can't remember them. So I store them in my calendar. Set the date, set it to repeat every year, and by default, it repeats forever.
but do we think they're gonna last forever? So there's this other option, and then you can describe the other option and go into the bet. And you can get one joke in the middle, so it doesn't feel so much like, listen to this bullshit, listen to this bullshit, listen to this bullshit, listen to this bullshit, listen to this bullshit. One joke payoff, we might be able to start paying a little bit of it off with like, it's a matter of taste, and it's an art form, so take it or leave it. But that is another way that we can get at least one joke in the middle of all this exposition. But there's also other ways that we can pivot it. And I do think there is a way to either get a joke in the middle or slightly word economy the setup to this joke. But I love the I love the joke, and I love all the payoff. And I think if we also play with the audience, it might.
But there's also this fun other option. 3 years after that, unfortunately, they broke up. And I fucking called it. 2 years after that, Rob and Wendy, like clockwork. This summer, a third couple that I predicted shat the bed. Johnny and Amber.
Is that a callback to your friend who changed his name to John? Is that what
No,
it's
this
going?
is an attempt at the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, her shitting
Oh.
in the bed. Yeah. It was just
If
an
it
attempt.
was a little bit more clear, a literal shit is shit the bed, shit the bed.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I think this is a joke where if we get some people understood it the first time around and were like, I'm
Yeah.
talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard shitting in the bed. If we fully explain it, then we would have gotten the rest of the audience on the side. The people that laughed the first time would have gotten a second laugh for being correct the first time, and then the rest of the audience would be in on the joke.
Got it.
I also think the 2 years later, this other couple, like clockwork, it's a lateral move. It's not heightening. So we either need to like bring in more callbacks with that second couple, like, my friend that I mentioned before, or people in the audience, something that makes it slightly more heightened. Otherwise, we're gonna get that response of less laugh on the second one because it's a lateral move. Or instead of an anniversary, it's like I predicted something else that's not an anniversary. Blah, blah. But if we want to stay anniversaries, you get it.
But at this point, I was just like, this is getting boring, man. I need a new challenge. All right, I didn't know I had the superpower to predict when my friends' marriages would end. And so since then, I started storing annoying relatives' birthdays. Next week, Pooja auntie.
So there's an open mic, so it gets like a ha 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 death. A real crowd might be like, oh, they might feel bad for your imaginary auntie that were like threatening to die. So you might be like, so we probably can get away with that joke in a real show, but we might need some sort of like palate cleansers or safety valves. Be like, what? I'm the only one with an aunt they don't like? Oh, everyone enjoyed Thanksgiving? Mm-hmm. To like make them buy in with our logic to be like, I'm just joking, but if she does die, like just we might not need them, but we in some shows we are gonna need some safety valves because some audience members are gonna be like, my aunt just died 2 months ago. How dare he do that? And we're gonna have like statistically that joke will screw you occasionally.
Right, got it. Okay.
We just need to be, it's fine. We just need to be prepared for it, because it's a slightly dangerous joke because of that. Because we're bringing in potentially a big tension, death, and statistically, some people in the audience will have that exact relationship have died, and like you have to have some way to resolve it to continue. Otherwise, you're gonna get that gas. It's gonna sour the audience, and if you don't have something immediately, then the audience also sees that it caused you to be slightly. I'm like, oh shit, and then there's another tension and the comic is now off tilt because he wasn't prepared for that. So now like the tensions start to stack if you don't have something immediately prepared to resolve it. If you have something immediately prepared, like, oh look at this slick, smooth guy. Like I'm not completely comfortable with this concept, but I'm in good hands. I feel safe in good hands, so I'll let him continue. Versus like, oh now I'm uncomfortable with the death and that audience gasping and that the comedian can't handle it, and now that he has to get on track with his material. Like they start stacking, and then you start to get harder and harder to get a laugh because the residual tensions just like build up in the room. That makes sense.
That's great. Thank you.
Since I'm visiting the UK, I'm trying to learn more about your country. I read that Rishi Sunak, your beloved Prime Minister, and
There could be there's something funny about like your prime minister. No one reacted. Like you guys know, right? I'm the Am I stealing you? So he's your prime minister. I don't know if you know this, but like you elect. Well, not you guys because you didn't vote apparently. But some people in your country like you could like play with that idea based on the response for the concept.
I think they didn't. There wasn't a big response because he's not their beloved. Like they don't like him.
Oh.
So in previous mics, I've done that. I've got like groans or boos, which is good. Like I've deliberately said beloved, like sarcastically.
I see. It's funny if they get him, if they get like a ooh, you're like Steve is making you moan right now. It's so beloved. Like you could even respond cheekily with
probably
that
my uncle wants to ban cigarettes for the next generation. Now,
some respond, boo. Like, well, you're not gonna have kids if you keep smoking, so like, not your concern. Just some sort of any response to that. But it's a big moment from the audience. So if we had improv chops, that would be the audience wants to play with that concept. So that's before we go back to the material. That's something we should play with in any way, shape, or form.
Rishi uncle doesn't smoke, is what he tells us. Ravi, that is the most smoker's law if I've ever seen one. It's like, guys, New Year's resolution, we're all quitting smoking in the year 2075.
I don't hate the joke. I think a little bit of it is it's like when you say like that's such a smoker's law, my audience brain doesn't really know what you mean by that yet. I'm like, okay, that's a smoker's law. We sort of explain it, but the way we explain it is it starts to get like metaphysical. And so I don't hate it, and right off the top, I don't know if I have a nice audible to fix it. But why I think it's getting a sort of mixed reaction is because of that concept about like that's such a law of someone who would try to quit would make. Or I don't know. I think the concepts are a little muddy right now, which there might be a way to optimize the language. Once again, I like the joke. I just think the current iteration is less than optimized. If that makes sense.
If I say something like, "Wait, really? Only a smoker could have written that law." Does that make it easy?
I still don't quite I mean, we're about to sort of resolve it, so maybe it's okay that I have a question in my head. So maybe I'm fretting over not, because the whole punchline of this joke is to resolve that tension. So hey, maybe screw everything I'm saying right now. But maybe it's just the payoff that needs to be. That's such a loss, like a smoker would make. Yeah, we're gonna quit. We're all gonna quit together. I'm gonna quit. You're gonna quit. Tomorrow, 2075. Yeah, we're all gonna quit smoking 50 years from now because we'll all still be alive, right? Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just the payoff. But once again, as you troubleshoot this joke, if we feel that it even needs to be troubleshoot, it might be fine. But you see, as I talk through, I'm trying to think about tensions and tension release, and that's how I'm like checking, not checking myself. Yeah, so I could be wrong, because we could be that we're building the tension we need to build, in which case, ignore it. But from the audience response and my own instincts, I think there's a better way, but I'm not sure on that. So feel free to be like, no, you're wrong on that as you do this more times.
I also read that. Oh, sorry. I'm also learning that a lot of places in the
So even when we make a mistake, that's also time that we play. I read. I'm learning. I'm learning by reading. I read it and then I learned it, and then now you guys are learning it because you're not reading it because I read it. Like we could play with it and make that mistake, a boon instead of a bane.
That was only because I got the time warning. So I had to quickly not do my next joke and then switch to the last one.
Sure. Yeah, so that's another thing as we watch these that I like to call out to the audience is like, we always make these optimizations and we're like, why did the comedian do that? But there's also a lot of very real things happening like in the room, and like we're humans and there's unexpected things. So like, once again, it is very hard just to exist on stage alone and then handle the business. So 100% if your light hit right in that moment, I can understand sort of like, especially if we're audibling jokes, and if you just switched from like lane A to lane B, then like great, that was almost a seamless joke transition if so.
US are named after places in the UK. So my own city of New York, named after the equally wild and crazy town of York, UK. Let's go! Yes! York!
I love this. This is the highest energy you've gotten, and usually a lot of comedians like to be like want to be like, I'm gonna talk like this. I'm gonna say a punchline. Why isn't the audience going yeah? Woo! But the audience matches our energy. So I think having this high energy helps the audience match us, and so I love this bit on you, especially at the end.
The city that never woke up.
Okay, great.
And the state of New Hampshire, named after Hampshire.
Oh, I wonder if we can do like a big apple versus like if we can play with that more like city never sleeps, city never woke up. The big apple versus the big. Do they grow things there? I don't know. I feel like we could pay that off more before we move on to the next thing.
County of Hampshire, UK. And I just visited New Hampshire for the first time, and my friend came to pick me up. And when he started driving, I shat my pants because he would not put on his seatbelt. And that's when I learned that New Hampshire is the only state in the US where seatbelts are not required. And then I learned what the state motto of New Hampshire is. And I am not making this up. New Hampshire's state motto is, live free or die.
If we had activated that applause break, there's like two different people applauding. If you'd be like, oh, thank you. Yeah. You could have gotten the whole audience to applause there. You could have activated that applause break full. But we sort of like are on the train tracks with our reaction to it. If that makes sense.
activate just by acknowledging their applause break?
So a lot of times when people start to tentatively applause, a lot of times they need permission to be like, I'll let you interrupt me. I'll concede the vocal line to you. And a lot of times they're like, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. It'll acknowledge it, and the rest of the audience is like, oh, he wants that, and it'll cause the rest of the audience to applause, and it'll get a full applause break instead of just a smattering of applause here and there. I can send you set reviews I've done with other people. I know I have the Instagram clips, but I have full clips on YouTube of the full sets, and I can show you times when it's like very obvious that a slight acknowledgement would have very clearly caused like full applause breaks, like this moment right here.
Live free or die is not a state motto. It's an assassination threat by your government. And by the way, if your government asks you to live free, and then you do you?
You could have activated that applause break too. Also, the more applause breaks we don't activate, we're training them to applause a few times and then stop. If we activated the first few, we wouldn't need to activate the other ones because we've trained them. Like they've already known, like, oh, it is okay if I give them a full applause break. It becomes a positive feedback loop. Because you're sort of like training the dog that is the audience to act the way we want. Versus now, they've been trained to be like, oh, I can applause a little bit, but he's going to keep going. So I should just get that little bit of applause, and then I should stop. Because that's what this dynamic has been thus far.
Dude, these guys are extremists. They're like the ISIS of freedom of choice. And I'm sure even the ISIS guys put on their seatbelts when they get into their tanks. Abu, Omar, safety first, guys. We can't die while we're on our way to kill ourselves.
Yeah, so even in an open mic, that guy and the reason is we're bringing this huge real tension in the room of like terrorists and like these geopolitical things, and our joke is only so clever. So we put more tension in the room with this concept than that we've paid off. So you either need a bigger payoff, a smaller tension, or to not do that joke. Or have the idea of like complete freedom and there's a million other ways we can pay off that joke. We don't need to bring in literal terrorism because it's going to have a certain reaction from the audience. It's a dangerous concept. So you either have to be really clever or pick something else. And I would go towards pick something else. But once again, it's an art, so you do you.
But despite that, New Hampshire doesn't have the highest rate of deaths by car accidents. The number one state, which is 3 times that rate, is the great state of Mississippi. And their state motto is, just die. Alright, that's all I have time for. If you like any of these jokes, you can follow me.
Oh yeah, we never used the bomb. I was talking about this earlier. There were a few jokes that didn't land as hard as we should. You should have been pointing at the bomb counter. You should be like, where's my bomb counter? Where's my bomb? Ding it. You're not responsible enough. You're the bomb counter now. We set that up and we never paid it off. And it could have been something really fun. You could be like, you don't like that? I'm counting it. Boom. Like we could have really made that an interactive, fun check-in with the audience. So. Yeah.
Yeah. It did go off a couple of times in previous sets. But with this one, again, like just coming off from where I've been in New York, like my confidence has not been high. So if I'd get even like a slight laughter, I'd be like, that's not a bomb in my mind, you know? Like
Sure.
my defenses were up.
I think if we do the bomb counter, the first time you might need to train them to be like, oh, okay, let's get the bomb counter, ding. But to make it okay, because if I'm the audience member, I'm like, I don't want to ruin his joke by starting this unless I'm an asshole, and then I'm like, even your sort of good jokes. So you might just need to train it to make it okay, just sort of be like, oh, let's hear the bomb counter, ding, thank you so much, and then it'll be easier to get them for later. But I love that idea, and we never pay it off, so it's sort of like isn't worth the setup because we never used it in the set. And then sorry, I just want to look at your exit moment, and I'm gonna have to let you go because I'm already running behind on the writer's room.
On Instagram, @laugh@ Karan, that's spelled Karan. If you did not, you can report my other account, that is @RUSSELL_BRAND. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Karan.
I thought you were gonna be like, or you can report my other account, Russell Smith, or whatever the thing you said for Richard Smith, whatever you said for the IT. What was it was
Robert Smith or something. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the thing that we actually spelled at the end? Russell.
So, Russell Brand, who's been getting a lot of shit in the UK.
So
he's
one of
the most hated right now.
Yeah. So one of the things that I have footage of me warning another comedian about this, him not listening to me, and then us after the fact being like, I told you so. Audience does not like it when we make them spell. We make them find out words to spell. We either have to like pay it off and tell them, or not do it. Because we even talk about that in the set about how terrible we are at spelling, and they're like, and now I sort of do like that, playing with that concept. But it is true that the audience doesn't like to keep all those letters in their head. So I just want to look at the exit avatar of us real fast.
All right, that's all I have time for. If you like any of these jokes,
I do like it. Look at this. We're talking to the audience. We're doing business with the mic stand, but we're still evolving this relationship. I like that as I'm moving the mic stand as I'm talking. Same thing with the intro moment. Let's keep going. So then
you can follow me on Instagram at laugh@Karan. That's spelled Karan. If you did not, you can report my other account. That is at RUSSELL_BRAND. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Karan.
it's sort of like you were talking to someone at a party, and you're like, okay, I gotta go. Thank you. Versus like, oh hey, I'm out, guys. Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we were doing a good job even with the mic movement and with our hashtag. It's just that final moment of like, you're like, bye, and then we walk off the stage looking down instead of like, bye. Oh, thank you. I'm walking off. Oh, thank you. Love you guys so much. Thank you. To sort of really get that tennis follow through. So that is the whole set. Any final words of wrap up you say about things you want to do next time, or things you learned, or et cetera, from us having reviewed this together?
No, it's just a whole new way of thinking about my performance now. I never think about the crowd interactions at all. So yeah, thanks. This has been pretty profound.
Cool, great. I love that. I think you're in a really strong place writing wise. I would say reduce some of the risk on some of your jokes. Try to build in multiple punchlines and playing with the audience, and you'll be in a really, really good place. Because once again, I loved there weren't any real other than the dangerous jokes. There weren't any jokes that I was like meh, like full on meh in the whole set. Which is rare. But yeah, hey, if you guys like this video, hey, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out for more stand-up analysis and stand-up review, and both of our socials will be in the description if you want to see more comedy of mine or his. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Probably more videos popping up right now with further recommendations. Bye.